Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Chris. This is Scott. We are the review guys. Here we go.
Okay, what?
So this week on Raw, Edge was traded to Smackdown. Now, I liked this move. I liked him going back to Smackdown until I heard the possibility that CM Punk is being traded to Raw to take his place. That I do not like at all. What are your thoughts?
I do not like that at all. I am reminded.
So full of just information.
I am reminded of John Morrison and SmackDown. And when he was traded to Raw, a draft or whatever you want to call it, I said to myself, no, I said, this is not good. And it's proven not to be good for his career, in my opinion, except for the
Well, let me ask you the obvious question, because I don't know if we've ever mentioned this in a video. You know, when him and Miz split up, everyone was certain John Morrison, or Joe Mo, as you like to call him, was going to be the Shawn Michaels of the team, and Miz was going to be the Marty Jannetty. Hasn't quite worked out that way, has it? What do you feel about that? You know, them pushing Miz more than they're pushing Joe Mo.
I mean, it doesn't bother me. I think Miz is good at what he does. I like that. And I don't know that it's fair to say that one will become the next Shawn Michaels or a Shawn Michaels. That's a little too high a standard to live up to. Most, I think Morrison has a lot going for him, and he always has. And he just needs a little more. I almost feel like he's not quite as good at generating his own stuff.
I get what you're trying to say, yeah.
So he needs somebody. He kind of needs to be put in the right place.
I've said it before. I'll say it again. You know, I like John Morrison. You know,
you've never said that before.
Well, I've never hated him, but I mean, I like him. The problem that he has is he just doesn't have very much personality. He's a bit of a, I don't want to say a dork, but you know, he's a bit of a dork. He is. He's not in a bad way. You know, I don't mean that as a bad thing, because I'm a bit of a dork. Actually, I'm much of a dork.
I had this funny crease in my shirt last video, the white video with the white shirt, and I want to try to not have that happen again. I'm sorry. Pardon my my gyrations. Speaking of gyrations, that little midget fella with the glasses.
Have y'all seen that video? I don't know what that kid's name is.
But he post it as a thing.
He is hilarious. God bless that.
Back to my original
God bless
point.
that little kid.
Back to CM Punk. How it relates to John Morrison. John Morrison, I said, Morrison needed the forum. He needed the stage that SmackDown presented. Because SmackDown just seems to give more leeway for people to grow.
Yeah, I mean, people have said that for years. You know, Raw is the place where the stars go, and SmackDown is the place where the wrestlers go. You know, with a few exceptions. I mean, Edge being one of them.
Not even just his wrestling. Look at the stuff that he did when he was feuding with Drew McIntyre, coming out as the guy from the Braveheart.
I never saw that.
Oh, I'm sure it's online somewhere. It's probably on you. Anyway. There was some stuff that he was doing, and I felt like he just had a chance to grow on SmackDown, do more and grow more. Yet going to Raw, I knew that I just had a feeling that it would shoehorn him into smaller, and that's what happened. Point being that CM Punk has greatly benefited from the playground that is SmackDown.
Yes.
And so going to Raw, I just don't think there's going to be as much freedom.
I don't want to see him get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, to be his.
And I mean, the issue that I have with it, and you know, there's no guarantee that it's going to happen. We could be completely wrong about this. I hope we are. But even gaining Edge, SmackDown, in my opinion, is still, you know, they need more stars. So I think they should keep Punk, because if you think about it, you got The Undertaker, you got Kane. People consider the Big Show to be a main eventer. I never really have. I'm sorry. I'm not a huge fan of his.
They seem to push him, and then pull him from that spot.
Yeah, he goes back and forth, you know.
Maybe if they would commit.
Yeah, they won't.
But
you know, now they have Edge, which I think is good. And I think they could afford to keep Punk and still in my opinion, gain a couple more people because, SmackDown has moved to a bigger network, which, could add up to better ratings. So they need more flash, more lights.
Pizzazz,
as he likes to call it. So that's just how I feel about it. I mean, again, I haven't watched an episode of SmackDown in a long time because I don't have my network TV. So, most of what I see is clips on YouTube. But Raw, I try to watch it regularly. I don't watch it every week. There was a period of time there where I never watched it, but they, with bragging rights, especially coming up, they always try to, push SmackDown over Raw. I think this is the time to actually do it, make it more relevant, make it a better show that people will want to watch on Friday nights. Because, come on, what is there to do on Friday nights? Come on. They act like people have lives or something.
Yeah, who leaves the house on Friday
night? Come on.
Before 9. Anyway.
That's that. That's what we wanted to
9 Central and Eastern and Pacific. Central and Mountain.
Is it Mountain too?
It used to be. It used to be
Central Pacific.
7 Central and Mountain. No, Eastern and Pacific were always the same. Mountain is in its own little... Who lives in the Mountain time zone?
That freaky little forgotten time zone that no one pays attention.
And what do your shows? What do they come on? Do they come on with the Central shows or the... I guess with cable it's different, but like network.
8 or 7. Do they come on at 8 or do they come on at 7? Everything in the Central time zone comes on at 7. So our whole lives
That's when prime time.
Yeah, our whole lives we've gotten used to things starting at 7. And then you go anywhere else, like especially the Eastern Seaboard, it's 8 o'clock.
7 Central and Mountain. That's what the announcer used to say that on TV shows.
I don't pay attention to that sort of thing.
Well, they don't do it anymore. This was back when we had TV. We got our TV from the airwaves. We just plucked it out and stuffed it in the TV.
Where do we get it from now?
From cables.
I don't know. You're talking to a caveman here. It frightens and confuses me. Anybody get that?
I think we've asked him before.
Comment if you got it. So that's it. That's all we had to...
Punk needs SmackDown as much as SmackDown needs Punk.
I agree completely.
And Edge, it'll be nice to have him back. But again, Edge, compare the SmackDown Edge to the Edge we've had for the past year.
Well, this is a good point, Here...
You thought we were ending our
video. I know he discusses things like this all the time, but I'm going to throw it out there now. He's been acting not like a face the past couple of weeks, but not quite as heelish. This whole war he has on stupidity thing, I love that. I think that's a great gimmick.
And it's something
I hope he keeps up with it. Yeah, it's something people can get behind.
He could pull off what I think is pulled off very well when they are free to be themselves. Motor City Machine Guns. Again, I haven't watched TNA in a long time, but back when I was watching more regularly, I would tune in, and they were just, they're likable, but they're kind of jerks. But they're never heels.
Kind of like me.
I don't know about the likable part, but... I'm kidding, it's a joke, it's a kidding. But anyway, that, I think, is a very interesting... I don't know how to say it.
It's a fine dichotomy.
I'm sure it's not unique because Stone Cold was... He had his prickly elements, but he was also likable. But I don't know, there's just something about I don't know. Maybe it's the dorky element.
Well, and again, people like wrestling fans in particular, this is not a knock on anybody, please don't take it that way. Wrestling fans in particular like dorky characters because... Let's face it, most of us are kind of dorky ourselves.
No, I'm not. No, I'm cool. I'm cool.
So there you have it. It's somebody that we can get behind. Which we like. I like.
Anyway.
I'm not ashamed to admit I'm a dork.
I think you're right. I'm a dork as well. I think you're right about that. And I would like to see him kind of... I just think that's a really great role.
Yeah.
And I would like to see somebody do that other than what are their names even? I forgot the Motor City Machine Guns names.
Nick Saban.
Alex Shelley.
And Alex Shelley. Not Nick Saban. Chris Saban.
Chris Saban.
Wrong Saban.
Nick Saban.
Roll Tide. So there you go. Peace, everybody.
Adios.